Hey Writing and Schoolie gang. So 2 weeks ago I made a video encouraging other authors to share their work by reading it out loud to other people. I was really happy to see a lot of people take this challenge in stride, and I also found that I really enjoyed reading to you guys. According to the comments, a couple of you really enjoyed hearing it too. So I, like many of us, have been going through some stuff. Haven't had time to really script another video, so I decided this week I would read to you the second chapter from Strand, The Silver Radio. And this is probably going to be an ongoing regularity with my videos every once in a while. It gives me a little break and it helps me kind of refocus my creative energy. If you have any particular things you're really struggling with your current writing project, please comment what that struggle is at the end of this video beneath, and I'd be more than happy to make a video about it. If you'd like to support what I do with The Roadside Writer, please like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. You can also support me on Patreon to help me get rid of the banner taking up a third of the screen. If you need more intensive writing help, check out my website and my course, The Basics of Plotting a Novel, and you can find the links for all of that stuff in the description below this video. Let's get started on the second chapter of my dystopian science fiction adventure ebook, Strand, The Silver Radio, as read by the author. Chapter 2, Midnight Stroll. Drop or force the use of physical restraint. An electronic voice blasted in the darkness. The 10 feet from the base of the road sign to the sidewalk felt like 10 miles. What's better, being shot in the back or turning to take it, Quincy wondered. Then again, he hadn't been violent, so a bash from one of their bolt wings was more likely. He was sure every clumsy bound would be his last before a blindside from hell put him on the ground. The Rangers swarmed over him like banshees. A voice curved by his ear, distorted from sheer speed as it shot past him. Cease flight and remain where you... It dissolved into the blackness outside the Rangers' spotlights. Quincy choked on the emptiness in his lungs. He forgot to breathe while finding something with his feet was more important. His saving grace, if there was one, would be familiarity. This wasn't, after all, the first time he'd been on Path 46 when he shouldn't have. Prepare to... Another voice built up behind him, right as his sneakers struck a rocky lip. Quincy collapsed like a dropped pile of noodles. The Ranger, set for a collision course with his back, got fingertips on his collar, but lost grip as Quincy dropped 15 feet over a cliff edge. In the dark descent, Quincy remembered the first time he'd done this, years ago, if only to poke fun at Leon's doubts. He'd have an earful for me if he knew. That time he'd sprained an ankle and hidden it for 2 weeks while it healed. This time, he came down intentionally on his shoulder. Quincy spiraled into a wild roll down a gravelly hill. It took just long enough for the Bolt Ranger's spotlights to find him. They flashed on Quincy near a solid line of oak trees. He dashed into the thicket. Cease flight! The voice on the airborne amplifier boomed. It was too far away to matter. Every thought other than trees, trees, trees tumbled out of Quincy's mind. His knees scraped and ankles twisted under fumbling legs. Perhaps as fast as he ever had, he sprinted for Strand's illusion of wilderness. He flew through a maze of light-splotched oaken towers. Hey! The voice was close enough to stand Quincy's arm hair at attention. Even more unsettling was the sound immediately following. Metal against metal. His pursuer's bolt wings folded up to his elbows. His boots hit the ground, trotting at Quincy's back. You've already made this worse for yourself. Now you've become a threat to Ranger personnel, his pursuer announced, calm. Anyone could write off what's about to happen as a fatal accident. As badly as he wanted to make another run for it, Quincy put his back to the closest tree and froze. A couple more grass-crunching footsteps came towards him. It was from a single set of feet. He and the Ranger, only 6 years his senior, had more in common than either of them would have guessed outside these circumstances. He was the only bastard crazy enough to go where his wings couldn't help him, in the dark, with a fugitive like Quincy. You could walk out of here with me, the Ranger went on, creeping from sliver of spotlight to tree shadow. Face charges of vandalism instead of fleeing law enforcement. He was 10 feet from Quincy, just on the other side of his tree. Quincy shut his eyes. He slid his back down the stubbly bark. In the tense black, he was suddenly aware of how hot his shallow breath was against his bandana. When his backside was almost on the ground, Quincy found a loose piece of stone on one side. On the other, the firm spike of a tree branch. The stretched shadow of a man slid into the light beside him. Remember, the ranger cut his voice to follow a wave of sound rolling through the grass. No fugitive, but it was too acute to have been wind. He never knew it was a rock. A sharp crack called his eyes back. Under the pressure of knowing failure could end him, Quincy split the branch from the tree with unique precision. He stepped out and swung hard. The blow never connected. The ranger held up an arm to shield himself, slicing his steel wing through the branch. He lunged at the boy, who appeared to have monstrous incisors in the strangely lit forest. Quincy's hand moved to the only other weapon at his disposal. The paint can was up before his shoulders touched the ground. Quincy didn't have time to aim, just held it up and fired. A metallic silver mist splattered the ranger's eyes, nose, and open mouth. In an irreconcilable lapse between training and pain, he came down on one hand to clutch at his now ghastly, robotic face. Quincy took the moment to scuttle back to his feet. "Stop! Ugh!" The ranger nearly heaved his dinner when paint swished around his screaming throat. Quincy cleared 30 feet, then 40, then 50, in an adrenaline-fueled dash. Captain Rains of Bolt Ranger Squad 16 was still knee-bound, screaming into the night with his silver face when his mark vanished down a service hatch half a mile away. And so our chapter ends with Quincy's narrow escape from Bolt Ranger Christoph Rains. Where will this journey take him? You'll find out in a future video. I hope you guys enjoyed the chapter. Obviously, anyone would say this about their book, but I really poured my heart and soul into writing Strand the Silver Radio. I wrote it in a very turbulent time in my life when I was trying to find my path and reconciling what was necessary to survive with my passion of writing. And Strand was the first book I decided to actually go ahead and write. So this story is very close to my heart, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought in the comments, along with any kind of writing challenges you're having. A little fun fact. Every chapter of Strand, the Silver Radio, is 1,000 words or less. I did this as a personal challenge to myself because I was becoming a very wordy writer, and I wanted the chapters to read sort of like an episode of your favorite show. Quick and exciting enough to capture one unique element, one unique scene, before moving on to the next. Do you like this approach? Do you hate it? Do you think you could write a chapter in under 1,000 words? I want to hear it all. I want to hear from you guys, so please comment below this video. Again, if you'd like to support what I do with The Roadside Writer, please like this video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, become a supporter for me on Patreon. If you need more intensive writing help, please check out my website. I do written out writing help, usually once a week, and you can also find my writing services there. I do writing analyses. You can get to my course, The Basics of Plotting a Novel, through there, or for any of these through the description of this video. Thanks again, guys, so much for watching. Tune in next time to see where Quincy's wild adventure takes him next. And if you missed the first chapter of Strand the Silver Radio, check out this video up here. Introducing one of the new gargantuan members of our furry family, Chalupa. I swear we rescued him and his brother at this size. We would never have overfed our rats this much, and they are on a strict diet now. So hopefully he'll be getting his summer bod on soon. Roadside Writer, out.